Hi, it's me again, Craig here. This is a follow-up video on the one I did 2 days ago about creating quests and a reasonably structured way to do it. In that video, I actually included the location of the script in the path for the script names, and I've since, as I wrote in the description of that video, I've since decided that's actually not a good idea, and it would be better to take that out because script names are generally unique anyway, or they definitely will be unique, so there's no need to have the location in there. And in fact, having the location there could make it hard for you to find the script in the future if you've forgotten what region that script is in. Also, scripts can, of course, play out over multiple different locations. I also want to improve the structure of the path in terms of the names we used in that video were not particularly structured. Like, we used a name called begin, we used a name called like just Sean task end, and I'm sorry, not Sean, Doric task end, and just sort of kind of randomish quite type names in there, but not particularly structured. So I want to sort of revisit that and to see if we can do a much more structured naming system so that we know exactly what each part of the quest is for, whether it's a behavior or a dialogue or a script or a history. And thirdly, I want to try and do something with the new HUD element designer, which is a drag and drop. A drag and drop tool which allows you to create HUD elements, which are normally you have to type the script commands directly. It allows you to sort of drag and drop them, and I want to try and use that so when you do the quest, you need to collect items for the two different characters in the quest, and I wanted to use those HUD elements to indicate to the player which items they need to get. So I haven't tried it, I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll give it a go and see if we can get it to work. Alright, so first of all, I'm just going to look at the you'll notice that some of the names have changed here because this is actually a different version of that same quest. Also, what I might do, just while I'm here, I might just show you around the map a little bit. Excuse me. I really like this map because the towns are quite well isolated. Now this is a big map. This is 8,000 by 8,000 here, so it's 64 times larger than your standard current Steam retail version can do. Unfortunately, with the upcoming multiplayer update, the multiplayer cannot yet handle worlds this size. So these worlds will hopefully be in this update. These sized worlds will hopefully be in the update, but at this stage they will only be single player. We hope, of course, to be able to support this sized map in the future with multiplayer. Multiplayer will, in the new update, multiplayer will support up to 2,000 by 2,000, which is, you see this black box here, that is the 2,000 by 2,000. That's the size that will currently support, which is 4 times bigger than your current maps. Your current maps are actually a quarter of that, 1,000 by 1,000. So we're currently in a location called Destin. And this is in the northwest of the map. It has a mountain range to the top there, you can see. It has a forested area here to the south, this area here. To the west is actually the edge of the map, and to the east we have some lakes, and it points out to a desert here. So let's travel to Kaza. Kaza is going to be a desert town. This is my sort of RPG test map, which I'm using to do testing. So this is Kaza here. These little buildings are teleport portals that teleport you to each town. So you can see this is like a desert biome here. It's quite flat and it's just sand, inhospitable. Now back at the map here, you can see if you look at each one of these towns, they're very well isolated. They're either cut off by a mountain range or a desert or some thick forest. So from town to town, Norton to Destin is actually reasonably accessible, and in fact I've actually built a path through there. Neston is well isolated by this mountain range, and there's forest through there. Edgeton and Easton you can't walk to, although there is some forest. Marshton and Laketown you have to get to either around through the desert or you can have to go over the water. And these two are all separated by this mountain range here. Sawton is completely surrounded by mountains. Moreton is surrounded by mountains and desert, and also thick forest through here. Auckland is surrounded by desert, lakes and mountains. Brimton again quite well cut off by mountains, water and desert. And Western this is thick forest all through here, and it's cut off by lake and mountains. So I really like this map, how the towns are nicely isolated like that. So typically walking from one town to the next, you have to walk through pretty inhospitable terrain. So like nice physical barriers. Alright, so we're in Kaza at the moment. And we will just pop down to Moreton here. So Moreton is on the edge of desert and lowlands, so the meadow lowlands. There's the teleport portal there. And there's desert, there's mountains to the east and the north and the south. So there's the mountains in the south there. North there'll be mountains up there. And also across to the east there'll be, I don't know if we can actually see those. And I'll just quickly pop down here to Laketown. So it's got its name from this big lake here. Very big lake. It's actually almost the size of a full map on the current Steam retail. This lake, almost 1,000 by 1,000. Laketown will be in here. Okay, so that's enough showing the map. I will just quickly show you this mountain range here. You get a little look at how high these mountains actually are. You can see here, that one there is pretty big. That peak up there is quite high. So it's this is a big mountainous area. Very formidable to cross by foot. This peak here is 430 high, roughly. There's another peak there. So you can see walking across this is going to be pretty tough. Alright, so we'll go back to this the quest. So that's the guild house there, that is the smithy there, and the mine is just up there. Oops, forgot to turn off the clip. No clip. Right, so we're using Sage for the Guildmaster. behavior, we'll use stationary, so he doesn't move around, but he will turn and face you when he talks to you. We use master for the dialogue. And in the dialogue, I'm just going to first of all change these names to remove the destination from the name. So you can see here it's got Guild 1. Get rid of that because we don't care. We just want the quests and the name of the quest as path. And complete is an okay name, I think. And for the start we'll use, I think we'll use started. We use started and complete to indicate the quest has been started and the quest has been completed. Let's call that actually completed. Okay, and we'll call this one started. That out of there, in here, so all collected. I think that would be task 2, because task 1 is talking to Sean. So let's call this task 2. We'll give these. We'll just call these each stage. We'll call it the task. We can call it stage 2 or step 2 or task 2. I'll stick with task 2. And here we're going to say that it's giving it the completed status. Started, completed, task 2. Okay. And now let's have a look at Sean's one. So it has history, task or collect. So we're going to say task 1 because that's the first task that Sean gives you. So this test is saying, has task 1 been given to the quester? So this is a dialogue that's expected if you have expected to have collected the ores. And this one here is the actual quest has started, so we call that started. And that is task or collect is that's giving it the history, so that's task 1, right? And up here, inventory, that's just inventory, has inventory, has inventory. It's done. Has inventory in here. So that's giving it, that's task 2 because that's the second task. It's basically saying the second task has been given to the player, and that task is to return the ore, return the ingots to the guildmaster. Task 1 is to collect the ores, the iron and the coal, and task 2 is to return the ingots that the smithy smithed back to the guildmaster to complete the quest. Right, so let's save that. Now we want to so now that that's all the naming done, I believe. We'll just delete any current history from the previous testing. There's only one by the looks of it. Okay, so that's good. So let's save that. I forgot to do the setup here for the direction. Make that 270. That's exactly north. Okay, now let's do the HUD elements. So in the dialog, the first time you talk to him, he comes in here and he says, "Are you ready?" And you say, "Am I ready for what?" Etc. etc. And here it tells you what you'll need to be able to do. Here is where you accept the quest. So here it sets the history as started. There's an empty node there, not doing anything. So so in here I think it should also say what he wants you to return to him, so that you understand what's going to be up on the top of the screen here. Return the iron ingots to me. So here we want to make put the HUD elements to indicate what he wants up here. So let's do that. So on the script tab, there's this thing here now called HUD Designer. So you open that, and it brings up this little toolbar here. And what this does is it, normally to make HUD elements, you normally, when you create a script, you have to actually just type them in directly in here, right? So you have HUD bars, HUD counters, HUD shapes, and HUD text. And you click one of these, and you type in the details. So you have to do it manually. It's a manual process of typing in coordinates and typing in colors, etc., typing in properties. It can be a little bit difficult to do because it's such a visual activity. So this tool now allows you to do it visually, drag and drop. So if you want a HUD rect, you just click that, and it creates one here, and you can drag it around. You can resize it. You can just grab these widgets, right? You can change the color, etc. All this stuff, right? So we're going to use this to try and build a little item indicator up here. So the first thing we want to do here is pick the color. I'm going to pick a black, and I'm going to make it semi-transparent. This is going to be like a panel, and the items required are going to be inside this panel. Now the item textures on the texture pack are 32 pixels. The 32 is a little bit small, so I'm going to make them 64. And the reason I make them 64 is because it's exactly 2 times. It means when they upscale, they won't blur. There will be no blending or blurring, so they'll be should be quite crisp to draw. So I'm going to make, and then this is going to have a little border around it, which will make, let's make that 8 pixels, which means for one item, which is 64 by 64 pixels in here, let's say like let's make this thing 64. That's how big it's going to be, right? So we want to make this thing around it 8 pixels. So that's going to make it 8 on each side, which is 16. So it's 64 plus 16 basically. So we'll make that 80, 80. And you see when it's inside there. So it's got a bit of a border. Alright. So we want this up here in the corner. So let's make it 4, and I'm not really sure what sort of position it should be, something like that maybe. Let's make it like 36 maybe. Okay, and this one is going to be the same as that, plus 8. So let's copy that. Oops, here. Paste at 8, so it's 12 and 44. Okay, so you can see it's nicely centered inside. This white one is going to show the item. We also want to show the number, the quantity, so we need a text, HUD text, and it needs, we need 4 iron ingots, right? So we'll make that text 4. That scale's too big. Let's halve the scale, so I'll make the scale 1, and let's put that up and somewhere in the middle up here, maybe like that. Looks about in the middle. Yeah. Now once you've made your elements, you click the export button, and what that does is it actually creates the script commands, the HUD element commands, and puts them into the script editor clipboard. So you can now go to here, and you can create a new script, and you just click paste, and you can see it's pasted the 3 different HUD commands in here. That's pretty much how it works. So you design them visually, and then you just paste the commands directly into a script. Now the script name is quests. Again, we use the same path, find law. And for this one, this is going to be this is created when talking to the guild master. I'm just wondering what name to call it here. We can call it it's kind of it's the final task, isn't it? Not sure what to call it. And for the dialogue, the history we used, I think we used task 2. Task 1 was to collect the ores. Task 2 was to return the ores to the guildmaster. I'm not sure, the ingots to the guildmaster. I'm not sure if using numbers is appropriate, because if you insert a new task in between, then all your numbers are out. So probably using numbers is probably not the best idea. So I'm going to use return ingots to master. It's quite a long name, but it's fine. We can use copy paste, so we don't have to always type it out. So we'll put that path in the name of the elements so that they don't get conflicted with other task elements. So they makes the names unique. Because if you use the same name, they will just overwrite each other. I mean, like with this quest, because it's so short and there's not lots of tasks, we can actually just use the word ingots, because there's not really that, it's clear what it is. There's not really any conflict here. There's not going to be any other tasks which might be confusing as to what this means. And we'll call this HUD ingots. We'll use HUD open and HUD close for the names of the scripts. So we'll keep all the HUD elements as separate scripts Just makes things a bit tidier, and it's easier to create the, because we also, for every HUD element we open, we also need to close eventually as well. So if we use this naming system, it's easy just to duplicate the close script. Oops. Okay. So HUD open ingots. And that name should be 1, I think. So text to 1. HUD open ingots. And we'll copy this to create the close one. Okay, so let's copy the script. So now we're going to call that close. And the close command's basically the same, but you just don't have all this stuff. You just have pretty much a delete instead. Use the same name. Now with the recs, see there's a number here, that's actually an index number, so you can have lots of different recs. No, we'll just use an index number, and then to delete them you can delete the whole lot with one command by just removing the index. That name doesn't have to be rect, it can be any name you want in there, right? So we don't need that one. So that's going to delete both of the recs because the index has been removed. You can delete just one index, but without the index it's going to delete all of them that have that same name. Okay, so that's done. So there's the two scripts there. Back to the behaviors. Dialog, sorry. So master. So here, this is where the script is started, and this is where we want to put that those HUD elements up on the screen. Now, because we're going to do two things here and potentially more, it's probably better to make this an actual script rather than tack on a whole bunch of inline script nodes here. So let's do that. Let's take this name here, put it in there, get rid of that. Now edit the script, paste that in there. So the first thing we do is we set the header, set the history, and now we run the script, which opens up the HUD elements, and that was HUD open master, wasn't it? Started, I think. Can't remember. Let's just check. Scripts. Oh no, it was ingots. Right. Okay. Oops, did I not save it? See daisy. I thought I saved it. Maybe that's a bug. Maybe I didn't save it, not sure. So ingots. Okay, so once we accept the request, it runs this script, and it should then show the iron ingot. Oh, that's right. There's one more thing I need to do on here, which I forgot to do. In this script here, in the script editor, you can highlight that line. If it's a script command, you just click go to, and it opens up that script. Now this second rectangle here, this is actually, that was the white box inside the black box. I actually wanted to show the actual item texture in here from the texture pack. And you can do that now in the update by replacing that with the name of the item or the texture you want. So it's going to be ingot, iron ingot. The HUD designer doesn't support that yet, but I'll add that in, I think. So hopefully now, when we talk to the master and accept the quest, yes, I am ready. Okay, and now you can see at the top right, there's the ingot, and the text is in blue, which is not good, but it has actually worked. That HUD element is up there now, and I can see, so I can now see what I need to bring back. I'll just fix that color. Just get rid of the history so I can restart. And the script was quests. Oh, it's got a double up there, hasn't it? Interesting. Okay, that's a bug. Open ingots. So we just want to change the color of the text back to white. Now we talk to him again. Yes, I'm ready. Okay. So there is the iron ingot at the top. Now we go and talk to Sean. We want him to sort of face this direction, so we'll stand there. He's the handyman. Again, the behavior is stationary. We have our own dialogue with Sean. Sean is the tool maker. And we want him to face towards us there. Alright, so we talk to him. Yes, you must be the young one. The master told me to expect you. Yes, the master sent me to you. What do you need me to? What do I need to do? Yes, you. Okay, so I select that. There is a small iron mine due south of here. Bring me 4 iron ores and 1 coal. So now when we click OK, we want to show up the top right there. We also want to show the iron and the coal. And we also want to give the player an out there at that point. We want them to be able to escape. And we want the dialogue, Sean's dialogue, to warn the quester of dangerous spiders in the mine. So, and also we want another one here so that he talks to you differently if you've actually completed the quest. So let's just do that first. So it has history. This is history if you've completed the quest. Completed. And here he's just going to say, today's there. And regards to the guild master. I think we'll just put an exit there. Started. And this is where we want to give the player an out here. So he's saying there is blah blah blah, bring me the iron, the ores and the coal. And then you can say OK to accept it. Okay, I accept this task. And at that point we will want to actually pop in here, but we'll just add another one in here, so you can opt out if you want to. No, I will not accept this task. And in here we want to do the warning of the spiders, which is why the opt-out is sort of important, because the player might not want to do combat or whatever. Be careful, there have been warnings of dangerous spiders near the mine. And this is where it gives you the pickaxe. Oh, I actually put it in there. Okay. Okay, I can remove that. And we put an exit there. So this script here, we set, we give him a pickaxe, and we set the history to say he's started this task, which is, it's kind of the second task. And well, like I was saying before, we don't really want to use numbers in case you insert new tasks. So let's actually give this a different name, and we'll call it collect ore. And because we're going to also run the HUD script here, let's combine all this into one actual script rather than inline nodes. So we will take this command, okay, take it out of there, and we'll use that name for the actual name of the script. Let's just save that. We will edit that script. So we set that history. So this task has been started. Actually, let's call that collect ore started. Sort of put it at the beginning. Then we've got started, and then we've got started collect ore. We could use that naming system. So we use started to say that the task has been started, and then completed to say that task has been completed. That might be quite a reasonably structured naming system. So let's do that. And we'll, of course, the script is the same name. Start to collect ore. So we set that history. And we also want to give him the wood pickaxe in that script. So we do that. And we also want to open the HUD elements. So that one is going to be called HUD open. I think in this case we can just again shorten that like we did with the ingots. Because there won't be any conflict. So that's there. Now to remove this from the behavior tree, we don't want to just delete that node because that will also delete its children, which are these two. So what we actually want to do is we want to take this child and drag it back onto here. And you see it's now attached itself, so that this is now its parent, and this one is now has no children, so now we can freely delete it, okay? Started. So completed is just, that's the whole quest completed. Here we want started collect all, right? Because that was in this, started collect all. So we're checking for that stage now. We're checking that you have started that to collect the all. And this is a dialog it uses if you've done that. So you say, yes, I have it. He checks your inventory. And if you don't have it, it falls down here. If you do have it, he says, give it to me. And here it takes out the inventory from takes out the ores from your inventory, the 4 iron and the 1 coal. And it says, wait here while I smelt them. Okay. Take these to the master. So at this point, actually here, at this point we want to remove the HUD elements. So again we can combine this into a single script. And that script will be quest iron law completed. Collect ore. Collect ore, yep, started collect ore. Completed collect ore. I'm going to put that command in there. If this script doesn't exist and you click edit, it will create the new script for you and it puts the name in there. So that's taking out the iron. And then we want to also take out the coal. And again we want to remove this node here. So again we take that one, put it back on here. Now it attaches itself to there so we can freely clear that one. And in here we also want to we want to close the HUD elements. So it'll be HUD close ores, right? HUD close ores. And we'll change that name to this is the next task, which is return ingots. So we can say started return ingots. Right, let's save that. Let's just double check all that's still in there properly. Looks good. Now we need to design those HUD elements. I think we can use the existing one here. Interesting, it's doubled itself up again because I'm typing in different cases. So open ingots, let's take this as a starting point. So what we do is, if you want to load something back into the HUD, actually it'll already be in there. Oh, we changed the name, so didn't we? So if you want to load the HUD element designer back up with the script commands, you just copy them from here. So you highlight them and then click copy. That puts them into the script editor clipboard. And then back on the HUD designer here. I'm just going to close that just to get away from there so it's not so confusing. And then you just click import and it brings those commands in and converts them back to the visual stuff here. Now we actually want, is it there? Yeah, that's good. We actually want that one there while we do this designing, because so we can see exactly where it is. So we want to line that up next to it roughly. What you can do is if you click snap on, you see the yellow lines, they snap it to the top of the thing there, which appears it's not actually working. Interesting. Okay. And you can use the keyboard for one pixel movements. And then we will, oh, it's not working because that's actually not part of the designer, that's why it's its own. So the difference is the snapping wasn't working because this here is not actually part of the designer canvas. This is actually just a HUD element from another script. But you can see here the yellow lines, here it snaps. So put that up about there. And we'll make that, I think about there. Let's just make it 50. Take the snap off. And here again it's going to be similar, it's going to be 12. And it was 50, wasn't it? So that this will be 58. So you can see it's centered. Now we want to have two of these because there's the iron ore and the coal. So we're going to have to make this background one wider to fit another one. So it's going to be, it needs another 64 pixels, needs another 64 pixels. Plus we want a gap between the two, so let's make the gap 4 pixels. So we need to increase the size by 68. So it's going to make it 200. It's going to make it 148. And let's make this go back also 68. So that's going to be 1682. That one also needs to go back by 68, which is 1690. And we make a copy of this. So to do that, you can just push the C on that. It's actually color. Just click copy here. Now this one, copy that position and then paste it in here and just add 68, so it's 1758. So you can see now they're all nicely lined up and there's 4 pixel gap in between. It's got the border. So I think we can export that. We need the text elements as well. So we're the first one. That's going to be 4, and the color is going to be white. And the scale will be 1. Just going to change the color temporarily because it's too hard to see otherwise. Actually, I think it should be up maybe about there. And then we copy it. Put that one. Kind of in the middle as well. What height is that one? That's 16 high position. So we'll make that. Hang on. 70. We'll just make that 70. I'll make that one 70. Let's move it across a little bit, and we'll change this guy's color back to white. Change this guy's color back to white. I think that one needs to be a lot higher. That one. So deceiving me, okay, it should be 67. Okay, so let's export this, and that should be 1, shouldn't it? Because there's only 1 coal required. Okay. What have I done here? I've done something wrong. I think there might be a bug there. And it's 1. Looks kind of centered, doesn't it? Okay, let's go with that. So export. Yes, I had to fix all this case stuff. You can see it doesn't matter which one you go into, they're all there. So they're actually all the same scripts, it's just that it's coming up on here multiple times. So it was close, but we don't have the, yeah, okay. So we were going to call it HUD open ORs, weren't we? So we're in the right path, so we just click new, and we call that HUD open ORs. And we paste. Now it's actually brought in the other ones because I didn't clear the clipboard. So we just need to get rid of those. The first 3. What have I done here? Okay, let's just I'm just going to clear the script clipboard. And go back and re-export that. And restart that script. Open ORS. And paste. Okay. See, the bug here is there's a text in there. There should only be two texts. But there should be. Oh, there is the three shapes though. Okay, that's all right. So we delete that. Delete those two. The names are 1, 2, and 3. Number 2 is the iron. And that is the coal. And with the text we call it. We want these to be ores. So we use that name also for the text. That'll be 1. And hope you will understand what I'm actually doing here. 2. So we save that. Copy the script because we want to create the delete, the close version, which deletes the hard elements. Now again, for the rectangle, we only need to get rid of that, and then we can just use one command to delete all of them. But the text, we need to delete each one. There's no index on text elements. Okay, so we've got open ORS and close ORS. So in theory, it should all work now. So we come here, talk to him, we say yes, what do you need me to do, what do I need to do, and here we can opt out, right, because we're scared of the spiders, so we opt out, we say no, and we can walk away. Come back later if we got more courage or a better sword, and we say again, yes, I accept this task. Here, take this pickaxe and think I'll return with you. Now you can see the top right of the screen, we have a coal and an iron, 4 iron and 1 coal. So now we know what we need to collect. That's worked out quite well. And we know we need to go, there's one other thing I wanted to add to that. So I'll just clear that history. Start to collect all, so we want to get rid of that. We also want to get rid of task 1 because it's no longer used. On the maps, there's a waypoint system. So like here, you can click do a waypoint, and what a waypoint is, it's just a marker. So you see on the top the compass up there, there's that marker, the waypoint marker. It's just a directional guide, so you can sort of know which direction to travel to. Temporary marker. and you can set that with a script command as well. So what we want to do is we want to go to the mine, it's around here somewhere, there it is. And when you prospect a block, it copies that block's coordinates into the script editor clipboard. So now in that script, start click door, and here we can set the waypoint on your map, so to give you an indication of where to go, and that is the waypoint command. And it only needs the X and the Z, it doesn't need the Y because it's a two-dimensional coordinates, it doesn't care about the height, right? So let's go back to Sean. So we talk to him, we accept. First of all, just let me manually run the script to close those HUD elements. Okay, you can see they're gone now. Talk to him, accept. The HUD elements are there, and now you can see on the compass at the top, there's the marker there. It's telling me the exact direction to go to get to the mine. I can travel around here. Also, now we need to remove that marker once you get back. So we open up Sean's dialog. So when you get back, it's along here. And when you accept everything, when you actually hand over the ores, it runs the script here. So that's where we want to delete the waypoint as well. So we go edit that. And to delete the waypoint, you just simply type in that. That's all you need to do. Right, so now let's go and get the ore. Okay, looks like I removed the spider spawns. Let's put a spider spawn there. Use the spider behavior. No dialog. And maximum 3. Right, so those nice little spiders will attack you as you come in here. You get the ore and the coal. I'm not going to dig them out because I don't want to have to reset the mine, so I'm just going to take them from the shop. 4 iron, 1 coal. And I get out. Return to the tool maker. It is this way, yep. So we talk to him. Yes, I have the ores. Give them to me, please. Here you go. And you can now see the both the waypoint and the HUD elements have gone. Wait here while I smelt these into ingots. Here, take these, or that should say ingots, to the master. Just quickly that? Here, take these ingots to the master. So I think that's worked quite well. And we go back to the master. Do you have the ingots? Yes, I have the ingots. You do not have the ingots. Because we changed the names of the tasks, right? So we need to just change the dialog there, the checking. Started, completed, yeah. So we've started, so we've come in here, checking the history. That's now no longer task 2, that is completed or collect or. I believe that's all we need to do. So now we talk to him. Yes, I have the ingots. Okay. Must have used the wrong name. I actually need to check the history. See what name I've used on the history. I haven't set collected or return. I haven't set. Well, I haven't done two things. I haven't set collected or completed, and I haven't. And that's the name I need to check for in here. So this guy needs to check for started return ingots. And Sean's one. And here completed, collected, or that should set the history in there. Also this one here, why is that there? Oh, okay, that's actually two separate. So that needs to actually set that history. It probably actually doesn't need to set it, but just for, so it's consistent, we'll just set that. And it might give a few more options with more complicated dialogue as well. And in here, started, return ingots. So in here, started. Return ingots, looks fine to me. Yes, I have the ingots. Give them to me, young one. Okay, here you go. Excellent, your reward is this impressive iron sword, which has now been given. But I didn't clear the HUD. So in here, the script is completed, we also need to clear the HUD. So again, we want to combine this because otherwise we'll have 3 nodes. It's a little bit too much. So let's take that name there, come in here, paste that in there, just using the name, completed. Let's edit that, put that in there, and then we don't need that anymore, so we drag that up there, get rid of that. We want to use that command, copy that out, put it into here, and we also run the HUD close here. Requests INOR HUD close ingots, right? Okay, I think that's right. I'll just remove that history so we can double check. Move that one there. Now if we talk to him, yes, we have the ingots. Give them to me, here you go. Thank you. Alright, so it didn't clear it. Okay. Find out why. So the script is completed, collected, or completed. Quests, iron law, HUD, close, ingots. HUD, close, ingots is right there. Quests, iron law, ingots. I'm not seeing any problem with those. So I can only imagine that quest iron law HUD close ingots. Maybe it just hadn't reloaded the dialogue. Clear them out, refresh them. Get rid of that sword, oh, the pickaxe, and the sword. We need to grab some more ingots. So we talk to him, yes. Here you go. No, it still didn't clear it out. Okay. HUD close ingots. So if I click on that and I click go to, it should open up that script, which is right there. So it's running the correct script. Quests, iron law. Okay, I'm just going to copy this name. It must be, the only thing I can think of is the name is wrong on the, compared to the open. So we come in here, this is where it opens it. And we'll go in there and click go to. So let's just compare the names here. We've got quests, iron lore, ingots, rect 1, and rect. Okay, so if I close this, get out of here, if I come in here and run the script manually, close script manually, this one here, it still didn't get rid of them. Okay, so that's the problem. So it must have been because I changed the name and these ones that you see now were actually created from the old name. So the only way I can think to save that, to fix that, is to actually reload the map. So they're gone, right? Let's go back to the history, clear out that completed history. Let's actually do the whole thing again, just to double check. Okay, all the history's gone. So we talk to this guy. Yes, I'm ready. Okay. Shows the iron. Talk to Sean. Yes, accept. We got the iron. We got the indicators up there. We got the waypoint. Come here. We've got the mine. Got the spiders. I'm going to use the shop to get the stuff. And 1 coal. Bring it back to Sean. Yes, I have the ores. Here you go. Okay, I've gone from the top of the screen. Now I return to the Guildmaster. Yes, I have the ingots. Here you go. Thank you. Right. So the name's wrong. It's the only explanation. So in here, so we've used rect 1, rect 2, text 1. The names aren't wrong. I checked the names. I am pretty confused about this one. Where's iron ore ingots? And then here. Go to where's iron ore ingots? Rect and text 1. First one's because the player's missing. The second one is because I think there was a colon in that second one. No, that wasn't text 1. request iron ore ingots text 1. Requests iron ore ingots text 1. Yeah, I just don't know why that's not working. Try running it manually again. That running it manually worked there. It might be big. I have a theory, but I won't explain it. It's probably not right. But anyway, I don't want to waste any more time on this, so that's it really. That's just what I wanted to show. Just more structured names for the history, for the dialogues, and for the scripts, and those using those HUD elements with the new designer. So cheers, thanks for watching.